Hey, what is up, mortals? It's Kiki Cakes here with a new video for you. In this video, we'll dive into the Coolness Tier List Part 3 from the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime. I just want to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So let's get started. Today's captivating topic involves a series known for its wacky, strange situations and creations. By this, I mean I am talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Among the various characters, problems, and stories that the show has introduced, one of the most notable is the creation of the stand. If you want to know more about stands, we have a video on that. Check the video linked on screen or at the top of the description to learn more. Today's topic is subjective, but I will do my best to be as neutral as possible. We will be diving into the stands of Part 3, also known as Stardust Crusaders, and putting together a tier list based on how cool their stand powers are. We will be looking at both the abilities of every stand and their use in the story. Stardust Crusaders is the first part of the JoJo series to introduce the concept of a stand, and these can be seen as the first model for the stand. There are many exciting and unique stand powers, and we will be looking at each one that appears in the anime for Part 3. To star things off, we have the first stand we see, Jotaro Kujo's Star Platinum. This stand is revealed to be one of the most powerful stands within the part and wastes no time showing it. Within the first 5 minutes, we see it steal a gun from a police officer and then catch a bullet at almost point-blank range. Later on, it is revealed that it can even stop time briefly, making it even more overwhelming. With all this known, I think the Star Platinum deserves an S-tier ranking. You know, S for Star Platinum? No? Okay, I'll go home. Next on the list, we have Avdol's Magician's Red. This stand gives Avdol the ability to manipulate all sources of fire near him and have its own body produce flames and attack. While it may seem basic talking about it, fire is still a powerful thing, and Avdol knows how to use it. With that, I think Magician's Red deserves its spot in the B tier. Following that, we come to Hermit Purple, used by Joseph Joestar. Also, a very similar stand is seen being used by Dio, and I will be ranking them both the same here. This stand allows the user to see glimpses of the future regarding their chosen actions, such as seeing the source of the stand problem, Dio. There is also a secondary ability to restrict, grapple, or otherwise use the vines of this stand, similar to a whip or rope. With this in mind, I give this stand a spot in the B tier. While it is an instrumental skill in certain situations, it can be annoying and vague, making it less reliable as a prophetic source. Coming up now is Hierophant Green, used by the first antagonist of the series and later friend, Kakyoin. It seems to have several powers, but the primary one is to fire a barrage of edged emeralds. It can also stretch its body across long distances, creating nets or ensnaring targets. It was initially shown to have a possession ability, but after Kakyoin is defeated, it is never seen again. Knowing this, I give Hierophant Green a rank of C tier. Next is Silver Chariot, stand of Polnareff. Also initially an enemy, Polnareff eventually becomes a trusted ally, and we get to see how his stand works. The primary function of Silver Chariot is as a capable rapier fighter, focusing on speed and agility to outmaneuver and overpower enemies. It can also discard its armor for a considerable boost in speed and attack power at the cost of defense. I give this stand a rating of C tier as well. Now comes the last of our heroes, the stand The Fool, used by the dog Iggy. This stand is made of sand, hard to damage, and has several forms for many uses. He can attack, shield himself under a dome of sand, glide to the ground, and more, making this stand a great multi-purpose one. For this, Iggy's The Fool gets a B tier rank. This next stand is thought to be the worst stand to exist, at least with whom it chose. Holy Kujo has a stand of vines growing across her back, and its only use seems to be slowly killing her to strengthen Dio. Thanks to that, this stand is the source of the ticking clock driving the plot forward throughout Stardust Crusaders. As a result, Holy's stand receives the lowest F-tier ranking. Now, we move on to the villains of the series. Starting with the biggest villain of the plot, we have Dio's stand, the World. The World has a lot of similarities to Star Platinum and was the first stand to use the Time Stop ability. Because Dio is also a strong vampire, his stand benefits from the increased durability and is a formidable foe responsible for the deaths of 2 heroes. Because of this, Zawarudo gets a ranking today of S tier. This collection of enemies belongs to the group of stands collectively known as the Tarot stands. First up is the Tower, a beetle capable of killing anyone and making the murder look like an accident. Tower is an extremely fast stand with solid skill. He receives a B tier. Dark Blue Moon is the Moon Tarot stand, a sea creature-looking stand with power over the currents of any water it's in. It can use its scales as projectiles, making a razor-sharp underwater whirlpool with them, or cover a target with barnacles sapping their strength. I give Dark Blue Moon a rank of C tier. It is a robust stand, but it is somewhat restricted by needing to be in the water to be fully effective. Next up is Strength, and this stand is just a ship. It is a vast tanker-style freight ship, and the stand user has complete control over it, being able to pass through its walls and pilot it by themselves. A unique stand, but ultimately I give it an E tier. Following that, we look at Ebony Devil. This stand is used by having the victim injure the user, which turns the power of the attack and the victim's hatred into fuel for a poltergeist-style deadly haunting. It typically does its work through a doll in the likeness of the stand and is seen to be pretty powerful. The only apparent weakness of the stand would be against an opponent who harbors no ill will towards its user, which can be easily manipulated. I give Ebony Devil a sentence of A tier. Next are 2 different stands with similar functions, but one is much more straightforward. Knoom is a stand that allows its user to transform their physical body to disguise as anyone. It is a non-combative stand only suited to information gathering. This stand is also part of the Egyptian tarot stands, and it gets an E tier rank. Yellow Temperance can also disguise the user, however, it is much more than that. Yellow Temperance in its base form is a yellow ooze capable of consuming an endless amount of flesh to strengthen itself. It can also cover its user, becoming a nigh impenetrable shield and infect anyone who touches it directly. Yellow Temperance's only known weakness is its user, so the only course of action is to deal with them to stop the stand. Although icky, Yellow Temperance scores an A tier ranking on our list today. The Hanged Man is a neat little stand, attacking from within any reflection. It attacks the reflected enemy, and they take the injuries without any way to defend themselves from it. The only way to stop him is to figure out his stand's ability and limit his options to travel across surfaces, trapping or capturing him while he travels. For this intriguing stand, I rate it S tier. Moving on down the list, we have the Emperor. The Emperor's stand is a gun. Its user can control where the bullet travels accurately within his range, even being fast enough to dodge a sword strike aimed at the shot. For all its simplicity, it is quite a practical stand. I rank this one at a comfy C tier. Following that, we have Empress. This strange stand works by being planted on the unsuspecting victim. It then infects the new host, feeding off small insects and fruits at first, growing in size until it gains arms. Then it tries to hurt its host by continually eating things to gain strength. However, it does have a weakness in its own power, being destroyed by Hermit Purple when it infected Joseph Joestar. With all of this in mind, I rank Empress at E tier. The Wheel of Fortune is a stand bound to a car, transforming it to suit its user's needs. It excels for chasing or hunting down a stand user, but in combat against a stand, it may not hold up as well. It can fight, shooting gasoline shots at targets and using wires to spark fires, but against a faster stand, it will have a hard time winning. I rank this one at a D tier. Justice is quite the robust stand. It manifests as a purplish fog, sometimes with a skull and 2 skeletal hands. It works by creating powerful illusions, or alternately by turning injuries into anchor points with which the user of justice gains control, like a puppeteer. Moreover, they can control many different bodies simultaneously, making them capable of raising a small army with this stand. Therefore, I rank Justice as an A-tier stand. Lovers is a strange strand even when it comes to Jojo. Lovers is a tiny insect stand that burrows to the brain of its victims and then doubles any sensations from the user to the host, such as pain. Of course, the user still suffers, but it works well to avoid fights. I rate this stand at B tier. Next up is the Sun. No, this is not a Dark Souls reference. The Sun is a stand that resembles the sun, sitting about 100 meters above the ground and covering a massive area in bright light and heat no matter the time of day. However, the effects can also hurt the user, so they need to be prepared. I would rate this stand at E tier. It feels like it needs more to really be impressive. Death 13 is one of the most unique stands to date. It can trap nearby victims in a dreamland that has complete control over, and they have no way of waking up or breaking out of it on their own. The only way to escape is to either be woken up from outside the dream or to have your stand out when you go to sleep. Even having your stand inside the dream does not guarantee your victory, as Death 13 is still the most powerful in its dreamland. I solidly rank Death 13 as S tier, being an excellent stand. Following that, we have Judgment, the ultimate evil troll stand. It pretends to behave like a genie, saying that it grants wishes. It then uses the wishes to create clay fakes of whatever was wished for, such as money or other people. Afterwards, it uses these fakes to lower the victim's guard, leaving them thinking it is the real thing before attacking them with the apparitions. I vote B tier for Judgment. The last of the tarot stands is the High Priestess. This rocky stand can assimilate into any object made with minerals regardless of size, from a single screw to an entire seabed. This means that they can be a formidable enemy in almost any locale. Each and every rock or metal object around you could be suspicious. I rank High Priestess at C tier, but on the high end. Before we get back into the dive, I would like to say that, in case you guys didn't know, we are only one of the many We the Celestials channels. If you have a sugar tooth for great storytelling, please give our What If channels a visit as well. No matter if it's My Hero Academia what ifs or Naruto what ifs, we've got you covered. Did we get your attention yet? Great! Make sure you click the icon in the top right corner or check the description below for the links to the other channels. Now with that out of the way, let's get back into the dive. Now we will cover the remaining Egyptian god stands, starting with Geb. By itself, Geb is a reasonably ordinary stand, being small and made entirely of water. However, through Nadul's own abilities and cleverness, we can see how even a simple stand can be dangerous in the right hands. With all of this in mind, I rate Geb at B tier. Next up is Thoth, which is a similar stand to Hermit Purple, but also different. It also gives insight into the near future, but a much more immediate future and more detailed. However, even with the specifics of the art in the book, it is still open to misinterpretation, such as showing Jotaro being blown up where it was Oingo disguised as Jotaro in actuality. With all of this in mind, I give Thoth my coolness rating of D tier. Following that, we have Anubis. This stand takes the form of a real-world katana, and whenever someone holds it, they get possessed by the spirit of Anubis in the blade. It compels them to follow its bidding and installs them with fighting capabilities it has picked up from previous wielders. In the right hands, Anubis could be a terrifying opponent. While it possessed Polnareff, it became quite deadly, but it was still defeated by Star Platinum in the end. I rate Anubis at D tier because its coolness is based on whoever holds it. Moving along, we have Bastet. Bastet manifests as an electrical outlet that can appear on any wall surface, and when the curious target touches it, they become magnetic over time. As time goes on, they start attracting more and more things to them, eventually being killed by either the flying metal or crushed from the weight. This stand is truly unique and unusual, and I give it a solid C tier near the top. Now we can take a look at Sethen. Sethen is a shadow stand of a man with an axe traveling through the shadows. If a victim is touched by the shade, they revert in their age and abilities, making targets easy prey for ordinary people once they become children or babies. Another notable unique stand, I rate it a D tier. While powerful, anyone with enough strength can dodge or take down the user before de-aging too much. Next on the list is a pair of stands belonging to brothers, and they function very similarly. Osiris and Atom both work by their users engaging in a wager with the victim for their soul. Then, through a game of chance for Osiris or a video game for Atom, their stands buff their natural skills to give them the edge needed to win. Both sides are considered forfeit if they have a distinct feeling of having lost, even if they haven't lost yet. One thing that sets them apart is that Atom can see a soul's yes or no answer to any question, preventing lying. For this reason alone, I rank Atom as A tier and Osiris as B tier. The last of the Egyptian god stands is Horus, stand of the bird pet shop. It functions similarly to the Fool. Whereas the Fool is made of sand, Horus is made of ice. With this simple explanation out of the way, I rank Horus at C tier. We're almost done with the semi-final stand, Kenny G. This stand generates fully realized illusions that can be interacted with like tangible objects, such as turning a hallway into an MC Escher maze. Although powerful, he was taken out far too quickly in the story, so we did not get to see the full extent of his power. I rank this one as C tier. Finally, we have one of the most astounding stands, Cream. Despite its innocent-sounding name, Cream is actually a massively destructive stand. It is a humanoid stand with a mouth that can open wider than the size of its own body. Inside this mouth is a black hole-looking portal to a violent and destructive alternate dimension, and nothing lost to it is ever retrieved, as good as destroyed. On top of this, it can consume itself and its users safely, turning the portal inside out over its body and becoming an insatiable, mobile black hole swallowing anything unlucky enough to get in its path. It is incapable of being hurt like this, but the user can't see, making it a slight weakness. However, I still believe Cream belongs in its rank of S tier. Alright, to recap, in S tier we have Star Platinum, The World, Hanged Man, Death 13, and Cream. We have Ebony Devil, Yellow Temperance, Justice, and Atom in A tier. B tier includes Magician's Red, Hermit Purple, Dio's Hermit Purple, The Fool, The Tower, Lovers, Judgment, Geb, and Osiris. Then, Hierophant Green, Silver Chariot, Dark Blue Moon, Emperor, High Priestess, Bastet, Horus, and Kenny G are all C tier. D tier includes stands such as Wheel of Fortune, Thoth, Anubis, and Sethen, while E tier includes Strength, Khnum, Empress, and the Sun. Finally, in the lowest tier of F, we have Holy Stand. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has got you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check them out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I'd like to extend you an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being that we only accept members from 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.